Welcome to the Motormouth YouTube channel. I'm Zach.
I'm Andrea.
And we do full-length car reviews each and every week, and we stop halfway through for a segment called Questions, Coffee, and Cars. We spun it off. It's standalone now. We're at number 114. To get a question in, how do you do it?
Follow along on Instagram at Motormouth_Andrea. Every Sunday morning, I put a post out on Instagram asking for questions. Once we gather our questions, the post is deleted, and we start the show.
Time now for Questions, Coffee, and Cars.
Your questions from Instagram.
Big fan of your channel. Thank you. Love the content and chemistry. Any idea what the upcoming Acura ADX will be like? Hoping it's not just a tarted up Honda HR-V. No CVT, please. Well, Acura actually hasn't released any information on it. If you saw the press release that came out, they say it's coming for 2025, but there's no information. The only thing that I find interesting in the press release is that they mention the Integra.
Yes.
Which leads me to believe it's maybe a 1.5 liter turbo 4 with 200 horsepower. But guess what the Integra has?
I know what it has, Andrea. It has a CVT. But you know what? It all depends on how it's done.
Yeah.
The thing is that the HR-V is based on the Civic platform.
Yeah.
And this is going to be based on the Civic/Integra platform. So it sounds to me like they're going to use that.
I think so. I think you're going to be out of luck and you're going to get a CVT. But let's just wait and see. It hasn't been announced yet.
The knock against the HR-V is it's a bit too big and heavy for the 2-liter 4-cylinder. So going to the premium offering from Acura with the uprated 1.5 gas turbo engine will make it drive the way we think the HR-V should. We said in the video it should have the 1.5.
And 200 horsepower is a good chunk of power there. So I think it'll be okay. You just have to see how it's all tuned together if it does get a CVT. Big fan and fellow YouTuber Outsider Reviews. I was wondering what your take is on the 100% tariffs on Chinese-made vehicles. Wouldn't the consumer have benefited from Chinese EVs that are much less expensive? Are we not trying to go green? Good question.
Yeah, so if you're not up to speed on all of this, the United States has implemented 100% tariff on vehicles made in China. Have to be EVs coming into the U.S. And Canada just last week matched that 100% tariff. Europe is not as aggressive. They're in the around 30-something%, depends on the brand. And they've actually carved out a spot for Tesla. Their tariffs are much lower. Not the case in Canada. The Tesla will still be hit with the 100% tariff.
And remember, Teslas in Canada are built in China. They also put, the Canadian government, a 25% tariff on steel and aluminum.
Coming in from China because they're being accused of dumping steel and aluminum and hurting our producers.
So it's funny, I put this out on a story on Instagram. Definitely mixed messages. Some viewers are really upset. They wanted that inexpensive EV coming from China. Others are saying, good, we need to protect manufacturers that are building electric vehicles in North America. And also, the Canadian government has invested a lot of taxpayers' monies in...
Wait. They've invested a lot of our money, but it's borrowed money.
Yeah,
it's borrowed money.
In producing batteries in Canada, also producing EVs in Canada. So I think now we're in a pretty sticky situation because government is involved maybe a little bit too much in all of this.
Yeah, so to the tune of the last I saw an article last week, it said, if you add up all of the direct subsidies and tax breaks, both federally and provincially, it's $53 billion. $53 billion is being given to these companies to invest and build battery factories and assembly and whatever they're going to do. So the government has to. The reality is we're a trading bloc really with the United States. Mexico is its own kind of thing, even though it's part of the NAFTA agreement or whatever it's called now, YMCA. I can't remember what it's called.
I know it's changed.
It's changed, but we'll just call it NAFTA. But Canada and the U.S. is really a trading bloc. So we had to do what the Americans were doing.
I would love to have an inexpensive EV for sure. I wonder what's going to happen with Polestar. Their vehicles are made in China. The X30 was supposed to be made in China. Now I hear it's going to be made in Belgium. to start anyway, then maybe move it to the United States.
Yeah, but that's also a high cost jurisdiction, building a car in Europe, as Volkswagen's finding out, right?
Of course. So I actually spoke to the president of Volkswagen Canada and asked him about this. And he basically said, you know, globally, we support what people want. If they want inexpensive EVs, we support that. I got the feeling that they weren't so happy that the government is getting involved.
I'll tell you why. Because the Germans have an advantage. They don't have an advantage. They have a huge vested interest, is what I'm trying to say. So they're looking after themselves. So what's the largest market for the German car brands in the world?
China.
And if you impose a tariff or a surtax on Chinese imports, what could the Chinese do in retaliation?
Yeah, not sell your vehicles
Yeah.
in China.
And so when you have BMW, Mercedes, Audi, Volkswagen Group, all selling cars in China, their biggest market, it's no wonder that executives will say, well, maybe we shouldn't impose all of these tariffs because they don't want some countermeasures coming in. And what those could be, we don't know. The problem is, and this goes back to everything I've been saying about EVs for the last few years, Andrea, the problem is governments have gotten involved. And once you start peeling that onion, you can't stop. Well, they should get out of the incentive game direct to consumers.
No rebates.
No rebates. Let the consumer decide. This is what I say. Build a good car. And if it's such a great car and it's so much better than a gas car, people will buy it. So fight. The car industry has been incredibly good at competing for your money to buy their product. Let them do that. Don't put the thumb on the scale like they have over the last few years.
You know, you look at gas models, hybrids, plug-in hybrids, and it's a competitive market, but there aren't any rebates except for the plug-in hybrids. But Toyota's managed to keep the price point of their, let's use it as an example, the RAV4 hybrid, and offer a lot of trims and keep that price point around $39,000 Canadian. It can be done. But when we start adding in rebates and then manufacturers price an EV too high because they say, wow, there's a $5,000 rebate in Canada or in the US, you have a tax credit up to $7,500. It's frustrating. I think if we look back now, maybe we all wish that the government hadn't gotten involved.
I said that from day one. And then the other one is we haven't even talked about what the Chinese government's up to. The Chinese government is directly or indirectly subsidizing a massive push for EVs. And there are hundreds, actually hundreds of EV startup brands that has been fostered in the Chinese market. And the Chinese are buying domestic cars. They still sell Volkswagens and BMWs and people buy them, but they really want to buy Chinese cars like BYD and Geely and others and NIO and stuff like that. So I think that it's not fair to the domestic manufacturers in North America competing against all these cheap EVs that have been subsidized by that government. It's crazy. We should get out of the incentive game.
It's a tricky situation, and I don't really think that there's a great answer, but we'll keep talking about it. I still go back to saying, government, don't get involved. Let people buy what they want to buy when they want to buy it.
Okay, one quick one, Andrew, before we move on. BYD has a $14,000 electric vehicle called the Seagull, 14,000 Canadian, even cheaper in US dollars. Even with 100% tariff, that is a $28,000 car. There probably is a market for that.
Yeah, for sure.
So we'll have to see.
And in Mexico right now, boy, they are selling a lot of EVs, Chinese brand EVs. And so even Mexico's getting a lot of pressure from the US to start putting tariffs on Chinese vehicles. Nothing's happened yet, but we'll wait and see. Hi, Andrea. My husband and I love your reviews. Despite vehicle shopping right now is still being a little meh, we find your info really useful. We want to move to an EV right now. We find the F-150 Lightning seems slightly dated. Will you be reviewing the GM Silverado GMC EV truck?
It's supposed to be coming. It's inbound to the media fleet, so as soon as we get a chance to drive it. We're still waiting on the Equinox as well. I just don't understand how you can say that the Lightning is dated. It's only been out for not even 2 years.
I think the Lightning is actually pretty good. I mean, if you're not going to tow or worry about towing, but we really enjoyed the Lightning. I think the interior looks great. I think it has a cool exterior with the light bar in the front. I like it.
I think that 2027 is the year Ford is going to update their EV platform to what's coming next. They've already mentioned it's going to be 2027. So yeah, we're going to have the Lightning for a couple more years as it stands. But yes, we take it on note. We will get the Silverado EV.
Hello from Edmonton. Love the show and always look forward to your videos. Thank you. My family currently has a 2019 BMW X7 xDrive 50i with a 4.4-liter twin-turbo V8. Super fun car to drive and works great for our family, 4 with 2 toddlers. Lots of tech and features that don't work half the time, and tons of issues that come with this class of vehicle. So we're considering trading it in for the 2024 Santa Fe Ultimate Calligraphy. What are your thoughts on long-term reliability of the new Santa Fe? Given all the transmission issues, is this a U.S. related issue or also in Canada?
It's a bit of a come down, Andrea, from an X7 to a Santa Fe. I mean, listen, we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know. There has been transmission issues around this. We haven't heard a lot of them. There was the guys, what were they called again? The
car confections.
Car confections. They had a problem with theirs. And when we drove it, it was fine. So it's really hard for us to say yes or no because it's just coming to the market this year.
Look, the only thing I caution is sounds like you're frustrated with your X5 right now and it has issues. Now you're getting into a brand new Hyundai. And
brand new.
You know, I just feel like there's issues right now with it. Like Hyundai US recalled certain 2024 Santa Fe models for a software error in the transmission control unit. The vehicle could roll away when it's parked.
That's not good.
What I'm saying
roll away when it's parked. You wouldn't want to hit anything, would you, Andrea?
No, you wouldn't want to. So my point is you're kind of going from one problematic vehicle to a brand new vehicle that clearly has some issues that Hyundai needs to work through. I'm just not sure you want to go there. I know I wouldn't. I would wait it out maybe a year with the Santa Fe.
Listen,
can you just hold tight with this X5 for now?
I think they like the look of it. I get it. You like the look of it. But listen, just go get a Grand Highlander. Well, you can't get a Grand Highlander. I was going to say get the Hybrid Max of the Grand Highlander.
There's the halt on the Grand Highlander and TX because of airbag issues.
I wonder if that's being cleared yet. I don't know, but we should have asked when we were at Toyota. I don't know. There's, I say you like. I'm with Andrea. Keep the X7. And maybe wait till the next model year to see what happens with Santa Fe.
And the issue is the side curtain airbags. So it sounds like there's a fix. They're going to replace them, and then hopefully production will start back up again. I was speaking to a viewer when I was out taking some photos of a vehicle, and he asked me about the Grand Highlander, and he really wants to get one. He wants a larger vehicle, and he said he went to the dealership here in Vancouver, and they're not even taking reservations at all for 2 years. So I don't know what's going on there with the Grand Highlander.
Sounds like dealer monkey business to me.
Yeah, so I told him go to another dealership and also go to Lexus for the TX and see what they have to say. Are most EV cars nowadays being leased or purchased? I'm more inclined to lease since every new release, the range changes. One, we did not have to worry about too much for gas-powered or maybe even hybrid cars.
Well, in the United States, I know this for a fact, that the EV market is totally dominated by lease and lease incentives. And you see that when you start shopping and looking online, at EVs, it's all based on monthly payments. And they really market that. And you're getting some crazy, crazy good lease deals on some EVs because they're trying to move the iron. The problem is, this is the problem with EVs. When are you going to jump in? And what technology, and are you going to be happy with it? And leasing gets you around that.
Got a viewer who just reached out. He's looking at a used 2-year-old Audi e-tron. The price, brand new, $135,000.
$135,000. What is it worth now, Andrea?
He can buy it today for 64,000 Canadian.
That's what they're asking. You might even get it cheaper.
No, they were actually asking 75,000, and he got them down to 64,000 Canadian. And he's asking me, well, what do you think? And I said, well, it's going to continue to depreciate. Just know that going in, but at least you're not going to take that big hit. And this is the problem with electric vehicles. they are depreciating so much in a short period of time. And that's why I said to Zach, like, if you are interested in an EV, maybe you should just consider, well, leasing, as you said. But if you buy it, keep it long term and just drive it into the ground.
Take the wheel, drive it till the wheels fall off. But the leasing is the way to go, because if you think about it, back to what I said at the very beginning, if there's really aggressive lease rates and lease prices to get you into the car, and the depreciation is horrible after 3 years, well, the company absorbs that, not you.
Yeah.
So it's, if you can get a cheap lease and drive the car, and then there may be other cheap leases at the end of it, it might not be a bad way to go. And to your point, you're going to have the latest and the newest.
Yeah. Any idea when the new A5, S5, and Q5 will be hitting the market in North America? I'm thinking of upgrading my 2018 A4.
We're at a bit of a disadvantage recording this, because we're recording this before they're going to show the Q5. So now that this video's out and we mention it, now you can Google, what does the Q5 look like? What has been announced is the A5, and the S5 is going to come, and they have eliminated the A4.
Yeah.
So that is, they call it, it's funny because the name of the family is called the A4 family, which is the old platform. But anyway, so we know the A5, we haven't seen the Q5 yet.
I'm actually a little bit surprised that the A4 is gone. I mean, I would think that would be the one that they would keep.
Yeah, but people
get
aren't
rid
buying...
of the A5 and the A6 and just do the A4.
People aren't buying sedans, Andrea.
I know they are, but I just think the A4 would be an option that maybe some people would be able to get into, because it's a little less money.
And it has the heritage. It's got the name.
Yeah.
A4 has been a cornerstone of the brand.
So the A5 interior looks good. I like the screens in it. I would assume that the Q5 interior would look similar to that.
It will be exactly the same.
So that's kind of what they do. You see that with BMW. Now all the interiors are the exact same. And the Q5, the exterior probably won't change that much, which is what Audi does.
But now you can look it up for yourself.
Love your channel. Thank you, and videos. I'm about to potentially get a Kia Sorrento hybrid, and I'm still open to a CR-V hybrid. I noticed in other videos you seem to prefer Honda hybrids over Hyundai Group hybrids. Is there any reason that makes you both prefer Honda hybrids over Hyundai Group hybrids, even when Honda is charging a premium to give you less features for the money? I actually disagree with that.
I was going to say, we disagree with that.
Oh, we really do. And we agree with you that the CR-V hybrid is expensive and Honda is charging a premium. I think that Kia, the Sorrento hybrid, is terrific. I recommended a Hyundai Tucson plug-in hybrid for my mom, and she bought it and she loves it.
Big difference is you have a conventional automatic transmission. With the CR-V, you have an eCVT, is basically a CVT, and you have the driving dynamics of a regular car because it's got a regular automatic transmission. So it's very different in the fact that it has a hybrid system, but it also has a turbocharged engine. So the turbocharged engine makes up for any of that lagginess you might get, and the fact that it's got a regular torque converter automatic makes it drive like a regular car, and they're very, very quiet as well. So I'm not sure how you got that. We don't like theirs. We maybe mentioned in the Santa Fe the issues that they were having with Santa Fe, but other than that, every time we drive them, we're totally impressed.
Hey, don't get us wrong, the CR-V hybrid is great.
Spendy.
It's a very, very good option. And if you compare them to the RAV4 hybrid, the RAV4 hybrid gets better fuel economy, but the CR-V hybrid and then that Sorrento hybrid, their fuel economy is fairly close, I would say, or definitely with the Tucson or the Sportage hybrid, they're similar because of the automatic transmission.
Sorrento is bigger, and Sorrento has 3 rows of seats. So yes, even though it maybe doesn't have the same fuel economy, you've got a bigger vehicle and you have the capacity to take 6 people. So that's something as well.
Go for the Sorrento. It is a very good vehicle and offers a ton of value as well. And that's it for us. If you want to get a question, and follow along on Instagram at motormouth_Andrea. Every Sunday morning, I put a post out on Instagram asking for questions. Once we gather our questions, the post is deleted and we start the show.
See you then.
Thanks for watching.